And here is the weather forecast for the week of October 9th. It is Monday, though I wrote this forecast on Sunday, just hours after the full moon, which was in Aries, opposing the Libra sun. Now, in the language of astrology, a Libra sun symbolizes the energy of diplomacy, fairness, and balance, especially in relationships. An Aries moon needs to take the lead and take action. And on this particular full moon, part of that agenda could involve an initiative to heal wounded feelings. And if that's the case, Monday morning could get off to an emotional start. And now I'm going off script because this morning, what I got on my iPhone was a text from someone I hadn't heard from in a while, wanting to reconnect after a falling out we'd had a few months ago. So here is how astrology is operating in my own personal world. Astrology is amazing. Anyway, this Monday after the morning may fizzle out for several hours. And so you want to roll with whatever twists and flakes disrupt your efforts to move forward in a straight line. And don't make a mountain of crisis out of a molehill. Once the moon enters Taurus on Monday night, tonight, the focus shifts to building material security and preserving the status quo, which heads of state and business are likely to be doing against a backdrop of attention-grabbing inspiration or pixie-dusted weirdness that hits the wires by the wee hours on Wednesday morning. So this pixie-dusted weirdness reflects a pattern I told you about last week, which involves tension between Mars and Neptune. Mars refers to action, aggression, and courage, and it's in Gemini, which suggests that we'll be seeing plenty of clever double talk in the news for the next several months. Neptune refers to inspiration and also delusion. With Mars in a tense pattern with Neptune, we can watch for news involving men, cars, courage, aggression, that's all Mars, that also involves these Neptune themes: sexy scandal, deceit, fanatics, drugs, healing, victims, oceans, martyrs, refugees, and wipeouts, all ranging from the sublime and inspired to the surreal and the weird. So whatever fits this pattern on Wednesday is likely to be revisited again around November 19th, when we will have the second exact tense aspect between Mars and Neptune. Meanwhile, on Thursday morning, the moon leaves Taurus and enters Gemini, driving the next 2 days with a need to chatter about whatever sublime or surreal news happened earlier this week and separate fact from fiction. The reality check that cuts through any fog this week reflects an easy flow between the Sun and Venus and Saturn, structure, authority. Venus and the Sun are currently in Libra, and Venus and Saturn, which is in Aquarius, both function very effectively in their respective signs. And so one expression of this Venus-Saturn harmony I saw on the pages of the Washington Post, this is yesterday's Washington Post, women here are being taken quite seriously regarding their ability to have an impact, an authoritative say in the upcoming midterm elections. And it's not surprising that we're seeing this kind of talk right now. There's another interesting, this is a Mars-Neptune headline. We're talking about two athletes, which is Mars, Herschel Walker, Brett Favre, and the deification, turning somebody into a mythic, godly figure, is Neptune. So this is a Mars-Neptune story that's here in the headlines. Okay, sports heroes, very Mars-Neptune. Back to the forecast. On Saturday, the moon leaves Gemini and enters Cancer, driving the weekend with a need for emotional, family, and homeland security, whatever you need to feel nourished and enjoy the comforts of home. Finally, I want to remind you about another pattern I told you about last week, which continues to be in effect all month. And that is the tension between Saturn, which is the old guard, and Uranus, which is the avant-garde, the future. So ultimately, Uranus, which is the future, is going to win. But while they are in this stubborn holding pattern, where it looks like neither one of them is moving, we continue to see this reflected in stories of log jams, including supply chains and contests that seem too close to call. So here's the New York Times. This is their homepage, not the front page yesterday. The strangest midterm. Yeah, well, the strange is the Mars-Neptune stuff. Why this election has been so hard to predict. They can't figure out which side is going to win because they're both stuck. And this is a Mars-Neptune headline. Meditate, kill zombies, and repeat. It's about the metaverse. I don't know if you can see that headline. And also, this is the actual Sunday front page. I remember I told you about Pluto power turning direct on Saturday. And this happened at that time. A big blast on a Crimea bridge disrupts supply chain. That's very Saturn square Uranus, the supply chain being disrupted. And this one down here, this is a Mars-Neptune thing. This says, insurance firms exploited Medicare Advantage for billions, making patients seem as sick as possible for more money. All right, so basically you've got things not being as they seemed, and fraud, which is Mars-Neptune. And if you want details on where the moon is this week and how that's likely to be experienced in your own personal world, I will be posting them on my website at the end of the day on Monday. And if you'd like to know what these patterns suggest for you in your own personal horoscope, then we can schedule a consultation to discuss it. And that's the weather forecast for the week of October 9th. And I'm your weather gal, Elisabeth Grace. Back to you in the studio, Allison.